Welcome YouTubers to my DVD review of Patrick Troughton's final epic story, The War Games. Now this has to come down as one of the game-changing Doctor Who stories in the entire history of Doctor Who. Of course we have Patrick Troughton making his final appearance as the much-loved Second Doctor, along with Frazer, Hines and Wendy Padbury making their final appearances as Jamie and Zoe. So as you can see on the cover, we have quite a few things going on here. We have the hilltops in the background there, and we have this little pattern here which is sort of reminiscent of the Second Doctor's title sequence, but at the same time sort of reminiscent of the Third Doctor's title sequence. It's also kind of reminiscent of the sets, what you see in this story, and it probably is supposed to represent that. We have Patrick Troughton in the centre, looking very worried. We have Zoe and Jamie on either side of the Second Doctor, seeing as they were both of his companions. I'm very glad that they both featured on this cover. We have this guy here who is one of the main villains. There's loads of villains in this story. He is known as the Warlord, and he's played by Philip Maddock, who you may recognise played Solon in The Brain of Morbius. He also made an appearance in The Power of Kroll as another character, although that was probably his weakest appearance in Doctor Who. This and The Brain of Morbius are his greatest appearances. Philip Maddock does absolutely brilliant in this story. What can I say? He's top notch. You also have this guy behind him who is the War Chief. He's another one of the villains. And these three here you may recognise from clips if you've seen like all the regenerations. They are of course Time Lords, and this is the first story to actually reference the Doctor's own people and call them the Time Lords. We also have this bridge at the background, it seems, and we have these Roman soldiers with horses and chariots and swords and shields and whatnot. It's a PG, and as you can see, it's not a 1-disc set, not a 2-disc set, but a 3-disc set, just like the Talons of Weng Chiang special edition that came in the Revisitations 1-box set. The spine is very nice, it fits in very well with the Second Doctor DVDs, what I have so far. And at the back, you've got quite a few things. You've got quite a few screen grabs. You've got the Doctor and his companions inside a battlefield. You have one of the World War I zone soldiers with one of the women you see in the story. And you have what seems to be a publicity still with Patrick Troughton with his monsters. You have the Yeti, the Dalek, the Ice Warrior, the Cyberman, and the Quark. We have the Warlord and the Second Doctor. And here we just have another pic of the Doctor, Jamie, Zoe, and some Time Lords. The story is written by Terence Dicks and Malcolm Hulke, and may I say it, they did a wonderful job in this story. Brilliant. So, Terence Dicks, if you're watching this, doubtful you are, but you did brilliant. The TARDIS has materialised in a world of trench warfare, barbed wire and poison gas. The Western Front, 1917, In the chaos of paranoia of the First World War, the Doctor and his companions are separated from their ship, captured and court-martialed. The death sentence is swiftly pronounced. But all is not as it seems, as the Doctor finds himself increasingly out of his depth and facing impossible odds. The only solution is the truly unthinkable. He must seek help from those he most fears. His own people, the Time Lords. Special features include a commentary by Frazer Hines, Wendy Padbury, Philip Maddock, Jane Sherwin, Graham Weston, and writer Terence Dix and producer Derek Sherwin. Warzone is the making of the War Games. Shades of grey, a look back at black and white Doctor Who. Now and then, the locations of the War Games 40 years on. The Doctor's composer, Dudley Simpson, discusses his 5 years on Doctor Who as the composer. Sylvia James, in conversation, makeup designer Sylvia James talks about her work on Doctor Who. Talking about regeneration, the Doctor's many lives discussed. Strip for action and look at the comic strip adventures of the Second Doctor. On Target, Malcolm Hulk, a profile of the Doctor Who author and his novelizations. Devious, a look at a legendary fan production which sort of bridges the gap between this story and Spearhead from Space. Very interesting, but I don't really count it as canon, sorry. Photo gallery, coming soon trailer, PDF material, production information, subs, digitally remastered picture and sound quality. Sound quality is brilliant in this. And we have Easter eggs on this as well. The story was originally broadcast on BBC One between the 19th of April and 21st of June 1969. Produced by Derek Sherwin, directed by David Maloney. Liner notes by Niall Boyce, and the cover is by Clayton Hickman. The runtime is 244 minutes. It contains mild violence and language. Yeah, 244 minutes. If you don't know already, this story is it's a very long story. It's the third longest story in the history of Doctor Who. It's 10 parts long. And you're probably thinking, bloody hell, 10 parts, that's a lot. Well, it is. Here we have the inside. It looks very different on the inside. I quite like it. It's more darker. I really like that. This story is very dark, especially in the final parts of the story. And there's disc 1. So, because it's so long, they've had to separate it onto separate discs, hence why we have 3 discs. So disc 1 is episodes 1 to 5. Disc 2, which is here, is episodes 6 to 10. And disc 3 is special features. So they're all different colours, what I really like. You have the Romans there, you have the Time Lords, Warlord, and the inside the facility where they are, and you have Jamie and Zoe, and disc 1 most importantly has Patrick Troughton as it's his Swan Song, and my god, what a Swan Song. This is possibly my favourite Patrick Troughton story of them all. This story is essential to any Doctor Who fan. You have to get this story if you haven't already. It's just brilliant. Yeah, it's 10 episodes long, and while it does seem like, oh my god, it's 10 parts long, how the hell am I going to sit through this? It's actually really good stuff. I did not get bored at all. And it's very funny that, because there's some 4-parters which I actually get a bit bored with. But this, 10 parts, I didn't get bored at all. There's just so many things going on, and you can really see that the Doctor can't do anything in this story. It's really good storytelling by Terence Dicks and Malcolm Hulke. The acting in this story is superb, and Patrick Troughton, he's on top form. He gives one of his greatest performances, and I think that's kind of how it makes it my favourite second Doctor story, because there's just so many things going on, so many villains and all of that, and there's so many mysteries, and it takes until the end for it to be all resolved with the Time Lords, and you find out that the Doctor stole his TARDIS in this story. Sorry if I spoilt it for you, but you know, all the performances all around, Frazer, Hines, Wendy, Padbury, all of them are just brilliant. I love this story. It's brilliant. It's a great finale to the Patrick Troughton era. One of my favourite Patrick Troughton stories, if not my favourite. It's just, I can't fault it at all. It's more or less perfect in my opinion. Even though it's 10 parts, it's just fantastic. So, if you're looking for a Patrick Troughton story, what to like, then maybe check this out. Bearing in mind it is 10 parts, but you've got a ton of special features on this DVD, and it's one of the best DVD releases in the line ever, because of the special features, all about regeneration. You have On Target, you have Strip for Action, all that type of stuff, and you've just got that accompanied by this amazing story. One of the best Doctor Who stories of all time, and I think it deserves #1 spot on the 60s list, from what I've seen, or like so far from the 60s anyway. That might change, I don't know. But yeah, from out of the Patrick Troughtons, what I've seen so far, this is probably my favourites. So if you haven't got this already, definitely get this. It's just brilliant. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching this DVD review of Doctor Who: The War Games. Stay tuned next time.